Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mitchell Miller. Hey, in this video, I want to talk to you guys about managing anxiety. This is especially for when, like, we all know what it feels like to be anxious. We just get this deep feeling of like, fuck, your heart's starting to race, your like chest is getting like, it feels like it's getting caved in. You might start like sweating if you can do that. I can't because I'm paralyzed, doesn't allow me to. Or your mind starts racing, you can't sleep. Like, we all know these symptoms of anxiety getting the best of us. And I need you to understand the ultimate root. Every single person in existence experiences some level of anxiety. I don't care how secure of a person they are. Everybody experiences anxiety because the fundamentals of what causes anxiety can be the fear of rejection, but mainly the fear of abandonment, okay? And so I learned this from actually a guy named Coach Craig Kenneth, and I recommend everybody watch him, especially if you have anything to do with like relationship questions and attachment styles that you wanna discuss or discover. Very helpful guy, taught me a lot of different things. And he had a woman on there named Margaret that really opened my eyes to this. And so she said that anxiety comes down to separation anxiety. So when you get broken up with, you are experiencing that loss, not the other person. They are leaving you, but you are experiencing the loss of a loved one. This same thing applies when someone in your family dies. So if you have a parent that dies, you're going to experience that loss, okay? You're losing control, and because of that, that separation anxiety is going to kick in. Every person, and you develop this, I believe it's from 0 to 2, can experience some level of separation anxiety from your parent. So if you're with a parent that wasn't there for you 24/7 when you were younger, like 0 to 2, you're more than likely going to be on the anxious side of things because that separation anxiety was created. So if your parents, when you were younger, didn't feed you when you were younger, like if they didn't feed you regularly, then you're not going to know when you're going to eat next. That's going to cause some anxiety, okay? So with that being said, if we know that anxiety really boils down to separation anxiety, what can we do to fix that? Now, mind you, there are other things that can come into play. So let's say, someone like me who's been cheated on by partners in the past. Well, that might cause my anxiety to flare up in other situations. But again, think about that. My partner cheated on me with somebody else. So my partner chose somebody else over me. They're leaving me. That causes separation. That's separation anxiety, okay? So hopefully that makes sense to you now as to what Margaret was teaching me, because it makes a lot of sense to me. So when it comes to managing anxiety, that's what we need to talk. Now, first of all, I am not a therapist. What I'm saying is not medical advice. So please, for the love of God, I just want to make that very clear. This is not medical advice. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a professional. I'm just telling you what I do to fix my anxiety. The more I learn about it, the more I can act on it, okay? So a lot of this is going to come down to self-control. When we're very anxious, it is going to be natural for us to want to go out and try to fix the thing that we're losing. So in this case, if we're broken up with, we naturally, this is why people beg, they plead, beg and plead, and I think there's one other thing that people do to try to get this other person to come back. But they've already made up their mind. They don't want to be with you anymore. So begging them isn't going to get them to come back. But the reason why you do that is because you're fucking losing something that you didn't want to lose. Separation anxiety. So when your anxiety peaks to that point where you're doing things where you can look back on 2 months, 3 months, 4 months down the road and laugh at, that's because in the moment when your head gets flooded with so much chemicals, you're not thinking logically anymore. You're thinking emotionally. You're going to do shit that looking back that you shouldn't have done. The more you experience this, and the more you experience this, the better you're going to get at not doing that, okay? So for example, let me give you another example so this makes sense. So a lot of this comes down to self-control. So if you are aware of different if you can get to a point where I'm at right now where I'm aware, I'm like, hey, I don't feel good right now, or hey, my anxiety is creeping in, why is this happening? then you can look at the situation, and as long as you do not act on that, so if you, for example, some of the things that I've been teaching recently is like women are like cats, men are like dogs, and dating's like tennis. So if you send a text message to a girl, and it's taking her hours to get back to you, and you're kind of like, oh my God, where is she not wanting to talk to me? Where is she? Is she ignoring me? Blah, blah, blah. That's going to cause your anxiety to go up. Everybody will experience that at some point in time, especially when you create an emotional bond with somebody. Okay, but more so the anxious people like myself. So what's going to happen then is you have two choices. You can either double text them, triple text them, call them, send them a video, or you can work on self-control, and you can sit there with that pain, which is what you need to do. And what you're doing is you're building emotional resilience because of that. And over time, the more you practice not acting on that feeling, the easier it's going to get to be patient and say, you know what? You can also reframe it, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it's going to be easier to be like, all right, you know what? Well, I sent a text a couple hours ago. She's, doing something. She's probably with girlfriends or whatever. Like, I know she'll get back to me because I know I'm worth talking to, and that's my girlfriend. Now, that brings us into what I want to talk about next is reframing the current situation. So, this is where if we have a situation, this comes down to like your beliefs. So, if you believe that this person's going to leave you, then you're going to act based on one of my coach told me that you're gonna like if you think you're going to lose somebody, your behavior is going to cause them to like run away from you, if that makes any sense, okay? So if you're going out, basically, if you don't think you're good enough, if you think this person's going to leave you, and that anxiety of not hearing from this person is starting to flare up, you're going to be like, yo, my God, what the fuck are you, what are you doing, blah, blah, blah. You're going to text them, you're going to blow them up. That's going to be like, yo, that's not cool. That's going to push them away. That's going to cause you to lose that person. And so in this case, and how do we reframe that? Well, if you can look at the person that you are in this relationship, just to be the example, if you know that you're a good person, a good girl, a good guy, you know you bring value to this person's life, you say, you know what, she's busy right now, but I know this person wants me, especially because like I live with them. If you don't live with them, then you can say like, well, I know this person wants me because we've been dating for 7 months and she or he hasn't chosen anybody else. She'll get back to me if she can. And then like when you can reframe it in ways similar to that to make that situation a little easier. So I actually had to have ChatGPT help me figure that one out when I was first trying to understand what really causes anxiety and like ways that you can like fix that. So if we know then what's really helped me the most, so there's not acting on it, there's reframing. Meditation is another way that I've heard that you can do this. I haven't actually done this yet, but I have been told that it's like proven that if you can sit there and meditate for 10, 15 minutes and you change your focus from that person onto something else, you're not going to think about them. And then your mind, you're going to feel better because you're taking your thoughts away from here and you're pulling them into a completely different area. And so that's why it's very healthy then if you know your anxiety is kicking up, you can meditate to pull your thoughts away, or you can go and do something that distracts your mind. So for me, for example, I might take my dog for a walk down the street right here, go outside, get some sunlight, which is very healthy. I might go to the mall or the gym or the farmer's market to actually go out and just talk to people that I don't know, because I know if I'm talking to somebody, that's going to distract me from, in this example, the person that like I'm waiting from. If that makes any sense, the best thing you can do is, whether you distract yourself or not, it ultimately boils down, now that I think about it, to distracting yourself. Because you need to pull your focus from here, off of this person, onto something else. And so they say, if you study like relationship coaches, they say like your whole point of being in a relationship is you need to be able to satisfy your own needs. And so when you find a partner that you're really into, you're going to be attracted to them because they're completing a side of you that you haven't been able to fix yourself. So if someone like me, for example, that hates being alone, as you can see, that's something that would cause me to struggle with. So what do? Now, I'll take my dog and I will go somewhere in public to go and talk to other people. That is what's worked for me. That also allows me to work on becoming better by being by myself. And every single time I go and do that, that I'm doing something that I never used to do. I never used to go out to restaurants to eat by myself. I never used to go to the farmer's market or the mall by myself. And I've been a couple weeks in a row, and every single time that I've gone, I've always came back and I'm like, dude, fuck yeah, I had a really good time. I talked to a bunch of people. My dog got out. I feel good. And I'm showing myself that I can be happy by myself. And that has actually, that really like helps you. Because remember, if you can solve your own needs as a person, well, your anxiety is going to be lowered, because then you're not going to have to rely on somebody else. So that separation anxiety that I've been talking about in this video is going to cease to exist, because you're going to start relying on yourself more, and you're going to allow the other person to complete your life. You're going to allow that other person the time and space to come into your life when they want to come into your life, okay? Now, this does become harder the more emotionally connected you become to somebody, because then your whole life revolves around them. So if you were with somebody for a year and you live with them, and that you've got an emotional bond with them. So if you guys break up, your whole fucking reality just changed. You're not going to know who you are, and that's why breakups are so hard, because at that point in time, our sense of reality no longer exists. We have to rebuild ourselves, okay? So if we have to rebuild ourselves over time, and unfortunately time is the only thing that's going to fix that, but if you're no longer, but as long as you're like not acting on your anxiety to make the situation worse than what it is, by not begging them or not by like going to their job or whatever, to tie it back into the video of separation anxiety, then that transition is going to be easier and easier over time, because you're not making things worse by acting on an impulsive behavior to chase, to fix, to try and get this person back. I'm using breakups in this example just to make it something that everybody can relate to. Excuse me, I'm drinking an energy drink. Just to make it something that everybody can relate to. So when it comes down to separation anxiety, then there are other ways. Everything from anxiety boils down to losing something. Okay? Every single human is going to react in a negative way when they lose something. So even if you were the one broken up with, at some point in time, the person that dumped you is going to experience that loss, as long as you're leaving them the fuck alone, you're respecting yourself, and you're not chasing after them. Okay? You can't stop grieving process. Everybody has to grieve at some point in time. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. So if you look at the time frames from people who get dumped, the person that did the dumping feels good, the person that got dumped feels like shit, and then over the couple months the roles reverse. It happens every single time, because now this person, assuming that they didn't already find, so they didn't monkey branch onto somebody else, this person is going to experience the loss because now they're lonely, where this person might be with somebody because they were forced in a situation where they had to process their new reality and start feeling better, okay? So that's going to be the video right here about separation anxiety and why everybody gets anxiety. And I gave you some examples of what I do to stop, or to not, or basically to calm my anxiety. You know, the biggest thing that I'm going to tell you from what I can do from personal experience is just, you got to try so hard, dude, to not act on that impulsive desire of trying to fix whatever it is that you're freaking out on, okay? That could be anything, man. I can't give you a specific example, though, whether you're waiting on a girl you got broken up with, your mom died, or you lost a job, or you have to move out of your house. Losing something is going to cause anxiety. And now you guys know why and what you can do to fix that. Now, in certain situations, to give you that, if you're losing your house, obviously it doesn't make any sense to not act on that. Go out and find a new place to live as fast as you can. That situation, that would make sense to do. So that's going to be the video, guys. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe for more. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. With that being said, guys, I'll talk to you soon.